Hey guys, it's Ashley here, and tonight we're gonna just go over how to poach an egg. I've always loved poached eggs, but it's one of those things for some reason in the kitchen I've just always had a huge fear of doing. I've tried it a couple times in the past, and every single time it was just like a total debacle. By the time I got done, it looked like a bowl of hot water with like some sort of weird funky egg soup. Well, for the first time, I kind of got the knack of it when I made them a couple days ago, and they were delicious. They were incredibly pretty, but they were pretty darn good. So I'm going to show you guys how I kind of mastered the technique. I wouldn't even say I'm a master yet, but I got the advice from the show, thechew.com, so I watched that and then kind of went over the recipe on the website, or the little how-to video. One of my favorite ways, there's so many ways to eat a poached egg, but tonight I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways is just to serve it on like a quickly made homemade hash. So we'll kind of do that towards the end. The first thing you want to do is you want to have a pot of water, not at a vigorous boil, but almost like an intense simmer. So I'll probably turn it down in just a second, right before I get the egg in. So you've got your pan going. You can use a shallow saucepan. I've got a deep saute pan here that I'm going to use just because I don't want a really deep saucepan. The first thing you want to do, whether you're making 1 egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, however many, I made 3 the other night, or 4 the other night, and I did them all in the same pan, but this is the kind of a lot of dishes thing. You want to have an individual bowl for each egg. So you're going to cook each egg you use in an individual bowl. Let's go ahead and empty that in there. Just toss it in the sink, excuse me. Okay, so you've got your egg going, and now that you have that ready, your egg's ready to go, into the water you're going to put just a good dash of salt. Use whatever salt, I just have some kosher salt here. So you're just going to throw a dash of salt. It's going to cause it to boil a little harder. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. And then you're going to add a tablespoon or so of vinegar. You can use any vinegar. I have apple cider vinegar here because it's just what I have on hand. You could use white vinegar, whatever you like, whatever vinegar. I wouldn't use balsamic or like a sweet vinegar. Obviously that may cause a problem and it may taste a little bit like that vinegar, but apple cider, red wine, white vinegar, whatever you have. And the reason is you can do it, you can make poached eggs without it, but that's one of the things I always struggled with. I could never really get it down. But the vinegar supposedly helps the albumin and one of the proteins of the egg white kind of start coming together. It like denatures it and causes it to kind of, you know, turn that characteristic white and come together in the pan. So you're going to add about a tablespoon of vinegar. Okay, that's done. I'm just going to move these out of the way. And then the little magic trick, I don't know if it's magic, but it helped work last time, is you want to get a spoon and you want to create like a little whirlpool in your pan. Okay, you just get this going and you keep twirling until after you pour the egg in and the white starts coming together. So I'm going to get this going. And then I'm going to gently just pour the bowl into the whirlpool. I'm kind of nervous here. It's the first time I've done it on camera. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of pour it in and you're just going to let it go together. You're just going to kind of keep twirling until it starts coming together there on its own. And kind of see how the white's coming. And then I'm just going to stop. And I'm going to let that egg come together on its own. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. And I'm going to let that go on its own. So you can see it's not beautiful yet, but it's coming together. The white's coalescing, starting to get that somewhat of a ugly poached egg look. And I'm just going to let that sit there. I think this is the hardest part, is just letting it sit there and wait and not being tempted to reach in there and touch it and fix it. I think what I tended to do a lot when the first time I made poached eggs, second, third, fourth time, etc., was I wanted to do something. I wanted to make it pretty. I wanted to pull the white together. You know what I mean. So I'm going to let that cook. I have just about 2.5 minutes left. I'm going to go and put the hash on the plate, because the best part of a poached egg, I think, is when you're able to crack that yolk, or crack it. You kind of, you know, cut open the poached egg and the ooey gooey goodness of the yolk kind of drips out. I'm going to get a pot holder because this cast iron is really hot. Now hashes can be really easy if you have a food processor or a grater or something, you know, to grate the sweet potatoes. This is actually a mixture of sweet or yams and gold potatoes. And I'm just going to get some of that and put it on the plate. I'm not an artist, so I'll make it look as semi-pretty as possible. Just going to put that in the center there. Save that for later. All right. So that's ready to go. We've got just under 2 minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and season my hash a little bit more. Okay. Now, like I said, you can always do more than one egg. I did 4 the other night. They kind of muck about and kind of commingle a little bit, but they really will hold their own. The whites will stay with each yolk. And it's just, they're so easy once you get the hang of it. Another really yummy way to prepare them while we're waiting this to cook, we have just over a minute left, is I made them the other night with I was trying to take the carbohydrates out of it and I didn't want to make them with a baguette. So I used a sliced heirloom tomato and I drizzled that with salt and pepper and olive oil. And then I mashed up an avocado, seasoned that, and put a thick layer of that on top of the tomato. And then once the poached egg was done, I put that on top of that. So it was like this nice, beautifully layered, colorful dinner. Super rich, super substantial and satiating, but very healthy without any of the, heavy baguette or anything like that. So we have just about 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you a break to go do what you want, and we'll be back.
What's your favorite way of eating an egg?
My favorite way of eating an egg? That is really tough because I love eggs. So I would have to say like a fried egg with the yolk halfway runny. So the outer edge of the yellow is somewhat done, and then but the inside is still runny. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. So definitely not a hard-boiled egg. All right, that is the buzzer. So our 3 minutes are up. Now, if you wanted your yolk to be a little more firm, you would let it go for another 30 seconds, or you kind of just have to play with it to see what it is. So we're gonna pull out this thing and see how it looks. So I use a slotted spoon so that when I lift it up, I can kind of just drain the water. You don't have to do what I'm doing with the white. It just kind of annoys me because it looks kind of ugly. So I'm gonna let that drain there. And then to kind of hide the ugliness, I'm gonna try and flip it over because it's a little prettier on that side. You can see it's nice and soft. And we gotta get the look. So we gotta make this look semi-professional, even though I'm not professional. So I'm gonna reach over there. And I like to do a nice little drizzle, just a little bit. Nice, if I had some nice green parsley, I could put that on top. Make it look like I actually know what I'm doing. And don't forget to season. You always need to season. A little touch of pepper. A little dash of Himalayan pink salt, because we're all eating pink salt now, right? It's the latest trend. All right, there you go, voila. This is your poached egg on top of a hash. Let's cut to the climax of the whole video, and then I'll let you go and get on to your evening. Now, when I cut into this, the yolk should be runny. If it's not, just forget about it and imagine that's what it is. So ideally, when you cut into this, the yolk is gonna be somewhat runny. And that's the beauty, people. Look at that yolk. Well, there's your poached egg. It's not that difficult, and this is literally the second time I've done a poached egg successfully. And it was in front of the camera. So go make some poached eggs, enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next time. Have a great night.